This is the assembly video for the card storage for the Aviary. So we've got all the pieces laid out here. We're going to be gluing during this one, just kind of show you how we do it. First things we're going to start with, so these here are the middle walls. They're going to be going down in the center here of the bottom floor. They're the ones that have a little notch in them rather than the inset notches. So the first piece we're going to start with is this larger middle wall with the Sandbox logo. So we're using Gorilla Glue. You can use Type Bond, Elmer's, whatever glue you want to use. This one sets up quick though, so it's kind of nice. Just a little long. And the little notch is going to go in the back of the drawer. So just get it lined up, kind of wiggle it in place. So it should look like that. And then we're going to jump right into the two. So these are the shorter middle walls. They've got the little notches on top for the card dividers to flop back and forth on. So we're going to set those up on either side of this. So again, we'll hit down on the bottoms, the valleys, going across. And on these ones, we'll hit the inside side with the glue as well. Just like this. Just drops into those little notches. Just wiggle it back and forth until it's all the way in there, and then definitely need to make sure it's fully seated though. Just like that. And you can wipe off any excess glue that pops out. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Again, we're going to be keeping these notches on the far side away from all this stuff here. So we'll glue on the inside of this one. Get it all the way seated. And kind of squeeze the pieces together like that. Want to make sure these are held together, and want to make sure they're perpendicular to the base plate here, because there's alignment features on the front and the back that will be critical when mating up with the mating parts. So sometimes what it helps to do is take some painter's tape, and once you get this all set in position, actually tape the pieces together and let them kind of set up together. So nice and snug. The mating pieces will hold them together as well, but this just kind of helps get everything set. So now we've got that part together, we're going to take the back slanted wall here. So this is going to slide into those notches that we just aligned. So pick whichever side you think is nicer. Want to have that facing into the drawer. The back side is going to be mostly covered up. I can take that off. And this one we can just kind of slide in position. And it's just going to kind of sit in here. We are going to be putting these walls on next, and they are going to interface with these tabs back here. So this will need to be loose to where we can kind of maneuver it up and in while we get these parts in. So we'll do this one next. So we'll do glue down in the valley on this one again. And since this is going to be going in like this, we'll put a little bit of glue right here where the part will mate up with it. Just like that. And we kind of align it in there, and we'll rotate it up and in before we press it down and get everything to line up. Just like that. And you can squeeze it all into position. Clean up any glue that's going to interfere with the mating part. Doesn't have to look that great because it's all going to be covered up, but just don't want any glue drops messing up the fit. But on the inside, we'll want to clean that whole wall up real nice, because that's where your cards are going to sit. So it should look like this. I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'll do this piece. So I'll glue just like that. That's going to kind of drop into these holes here and rock into position where we'll line it with the mating tabs on the diagonal or the slanted wall here. Just like that. Again, clean up any glue drops. The side walls are the very last pieces to go in. So you don't want these drops setting up before we get there. Clean the inside. Just like that. So it should look like this at this point. This tape off there. So now we can drop in the back wall, which is the shorter one here. So again, pick whichever side you want out. The other side's going to be primarily hidden. And this is just going to drop in just like this. So we'll get glue along this edge here. And then all these little notches. So this will be captured by the side walls again. So there's nothing that's interfacing with these tabs yet. So I want to go back, clean up any glue that's kind of squishing out. Just like that. And then we can move over to the front. So the front's got some more complicated pieces. So this off to the side, there's the two side walls. So we've got 4 pieces that are going to make up the front, and part of this is for the locking mechanism. The first one we're going to put on is this one here. It's the solid piece. So again, same as the other side, pick which side that you want showing, and that's actually going to be facing the inside of the card cavity here. So we're going to go down like this, and this is going to drop in just like this. So we'll put glue just like we did on the back side. Just in the bottom of these little tabs and along this. And this will all be captured, so it's not super critical to get every little bit glued. Get it lined up. And get everything kind of squeezed together here. Okay, I'll go around and clean up the inside, anywhere that glue squished out. And clean up the outside a little bit. We're about to be covering it up, but just make sure there's nothing that's going to interfere with the sidewalls later on. Next piece is going to be this one here, which has got the etched on it, and this is going to just drop on. So what we're going to want to do with this one is we'll just put glue on the back of this, like that. aligned, and then squeeze it all together, just like so. And they have a little bit of glue on the back coming out, so you can clean that off. But this is what it should look like at this point. So what we're going to do is use the little lock mechanism. So we've got these two little pieces in the baggie. And take the little tab piece. We're going to put that in place. And just a little bit of glue to hold that one in. And then we're going to drop this circular piece in. It's going to be our little pivot wheel for the lock. Just drop that in. And try to keep this little tab as perpendicular to the mating part as you can. Clean up any excess glue. Don't want that locking up the mechanism. Just like that. And we're going to drop the actual lock into place. So there is a outline on here for the orientation of the lock. Should drop in like that, so that the little unlock feature is showing when this is flat. When it turns over, it's going to lock like that. So just get that lined up. Just a tiny bit of glue right here, because you don't want that squishing out and locking up the mechanism. And then the next piece that's going to go in is this one here. Actually, we don't need the glue on this part yet. I'll take that off. Okay. So I'll put this one in first. So this one goes in. You want to have a little notch out on the side that's got the notch out already. It's going to go in just like this. Again, we'll put the glue on this and keep it away from the edges so it's not locking up any of the mechanism. Like that. Line it with the bottom tabs. And make sure everything's nice and tight together. Just like that. Now we're going to do the front wall. So this is where we want just a little tiny bit of glue on this. And then we'll put glue on this one. We're going to put it onto this piece. And we just want to avoid all this cutout area, which you can't see on this one. So we're going to come around like this. Get it aligned. Work our way across. Just like that. And we want to make sure that our mechanism stays free. So there's a little bit of glue on there. Just want to make sure that it doesn't get into it. So as this thing's drying, every once in a while, just kind of rotate it, make sure there's no glue bond forming there. Clean up any excess glue that's squirting out. So this is what it should look like at this point. So lock mechanism's relatively free. Now we can do the sides. So these two parts are symmetrical. Pick which side you want in or out. And these are going to drop in just like this, like that. So we get glue in place, and this is going to lock all these front walls together. Yeah, big glue on this guy. Okay. Then we're going to get this side lined up. We got to work it into position a little bit. Way across. But sometimes you got to wiggle the pieces out just a little bit to get them to fit. Just like that. Make sure they're nice and snug. Wipe off any excess glue. And we'll do the final side here. So same thing as the other side. Glue along all these valleys. We're going to start it on this side. It's the trickier side. Kind of get everything lined up. And again, kind of make sure everything's nice and snug. And to wipe the excess glue out. And the dividers, we'll just drop in. They can be positioned anywhere within the notches and just flop back and forth. So if you're sleeving the cards or as you build up different expansions, you can add them in. So we've got 6 dividers to start. So just go like that. And get the lock mechanism. So that is the card storage drawer.